Hello everyone, Matt from Model Minutes here and welcome back to the workbench for another unboxing. Today I'm looking at this, the Airfix 1/48 scale Westland Lysander Mk.I/Mk.III. So join me as I get inside the box and see what this kit is like. So just a little bit of background, I actually was really excited when this kit was announced. I was pretty keen to get one of these. I built the very old Lysander in 1/72 scale some years ago, and I kind of just really wanted to have a go at this one because it looked pretty good. However, I have tried to avoid watching other people's reviews and other people's videos on them so that I don't ruin this experience for me. And actually, you might be able to tell that it's still sealed. I've not opened this yet, so fingers crossed this is going to be a really exciting unboxing for me. So starting off on the outside, we've got this beautiful image of the Lysander in flight. I presume this is somewhere like in Scotland, and we've got some bombs, on the fuselage and on the wheel struts as well. It is worth noting that there has been a little bit of damage here, but that was my fault. It didn't come to me like that. I put it on a shelf where it was pressing up against other things before I got round to doing this. So the damage you can see on the box is my fault, not how it was sent to me. But hopefully everything inside the box is still okay. Down here, bottom left, we have an item code of A07116. And if we move on to thin edges don't feature anything different other than what we've seen on the front of the box. A little bit hard to show you because my workbench is so small. On to the long thin edges, we have safety warning information. We have a bit of a reference here to Leonardo UK, so it's almost like it's been licensed, but maybe not quite licensed, I don't know, but they do have a reference here to Leonardo. And then we do have a Cartograph logo. Cartograph manufactured the transfers, so they should be to really nice quality because they make some of the best. And then over here on the right hand side we have our tooling and our release dates. So 2024 was the tooling design date, and the version we have here was 2024, so this is the first version, so I'm sure there will be more in the future. It does say that this product was made in India. Swinging round onto the other long edge, we have some information about the actual Lysander here, and then we have some dimensions. The length is 192 millimeters, the width is 316, and there were 171 parts included. We then have indications of our two paint schemes. We have one from number 16 Squadron in Salisbury in 1938/39, and then we have one for number 309 Polish Fighter Reconnaissance Squadron in Glasgow in 1940. So my guess about this being somewhere in Scotland was correct, because Glasgow is in Scotland, so they're flying over some mountains in Glasgow there. Right, so let's get this box open. There we go. So all of our parts are here. Let's find the paperwork first. So instructions then. Up to the normal format from Airfix, we've got some information about the actual aircraft and some sort of tips down the bottom here. We'll turn over the page. We have some safety warning information as well as a key to the different symbols. And then we begin our step-by-step instructions. So within here, we're going to be starting what looks like various elements of the internal parts of the aircraft. This appears to be some kind of fuel tank, which then gets added into the framework for the cockpit and internal fuselage. So you can see there's lots of different bits and pieces which get added to this framework. We have some paint color callouts, and we also have transfers that need to go in here. So we build up these internal parts, and then we come along. Oh, still more to build up. We do have little maps as well that we can add onto our little map tray for our sort of navigator / gunner. And we still have, there's loads of internal detail parts here, lots of little bits and pieces. And then we come to our pilot chairs. So we have the option of having a chair without seatbelts or a chair with seatbelts based on whether we want to include a figure or not. And again, we have the option with armrests. I think these are armrests, and we have to drop them down if the pilot is in, or we can have them level if not. That then gets glued in there. That's interesting, isn't it? And then we come on to, we had a bulkhead. There are extra bits here. I presume these are magazines for the defensive machine gun, and then extra bits and pieces as well. Decal for the control panel. And then we come to here. So here it does say that we have a little bit that we need to cut out if we're doing scheme A. So do make a note of that if that's something you have to do. For scheme B, we have to drill some holes. So watch out for that. At which point we can then add our internals that we've just done. So there's quite a lot of internal detail straight out of the box. We add this part for the nose, and then we have something here. So this is a blanking plate for the fuselage. I presume the other one is for the bombs. And then we have this part here, which has our struts molded into it, or part of our support struts molded into it. We carry on down, tail surfaces, add them onto the aircraft. We do have the option to position these in different ways, apparently. There's a different part, potentially, based on how you want to display that. Coming across, rudder goes in, and then we're on to our landing gear assembly. So again, you need to make sure you're taking care. There is a notch here that needs to be cut out. I presume that's for the machine gun that was actually housed in the landing gear assembly. We have a light that goes in. We have, as we come on down, different parts. It's either the little winglet, which would mount our bombs, or it's clean with nothing on there, and then our wheels. So relatively quite a few steps to do each little bit here. So the wheels go in after that. It doesn't look like they freely rotate, so that doesn't exist in this design. I think in the original 1/72 scale version that was a feature, but there was more play value in that one, whereas this is more of a scale kit or a scale representation. Tail wheel, I presume that's like a bead gun sight, and then crew figure. So we've got a pilot, and the pilot, I know for a fact, the pilot and the rear gunner for this kit are specifically designed for this kit, so they should fit perfectly. They're not generic figures. So he comes in a number of parts, which then gets added in, and you can see him sitting there holding his control column. And then we have our gunner, and again you've got a couple of different choices, I think, by the looks of it, on how you want to position him. Yes, it depends on whether he's got a single machine gun or if he's got a double mount. And then again that goes in there, and then we have machine gun painting instructions, and we have notes here about whether we put our canopy in as well. So we come on, and it's all into the clear parts now, all the glazing parts. Depending on which variant you do, we have open canopies or closed canopies, which will take a little bit of time to read through and make sure you're picking the right ones. And then we also have little windows in the back and a little light. And then we come to the wings. We're not even on the wings yet. Wow, step 75, we're only just getting to the wings. So there are little holes that we need to drill out based on the variant we're doing. We glue our wings together. We have leading edge slats and flaps and ailerons, and it looks as though these can be positioned based on your preference on how you want them to go in, so either raised or lowered. Then we come on to adding our little lights. There's little details that go underneath. We have our struts which go in and help support it. Hopefully it goes together, this part, better than the 1/72 scale did one, because that one was pretty fiddly to do. And then engine. So the engine's got quite a few bits and pieces going on here. I'd probably just glue it all together and then spray it and then dry brush it. Bit lazy, I know, but it's probably the safest choice. We have a choice here of different sort of the engine exhaust vents can be opened or closed, so we have choices there. We come along, we get on to adding our propeller, and then depending on the variant you've picked, you can either add your bombs or you don't, based on the choice you made. And then in the final steps here, we seem to be just adding the small little finishing touches, such as these parts over here, and also our machine guns. So yeah, instructions are pretty good. It looks to be a fairly complex kit, actually, quite a lot going on for the build. Let us look at the painting instructions. So the painting instructions come as an A3 sheet in glossy color. The first one here is our 1938 aircraft in Wiltshire, and it has camouflage scheme and then the black and white early war recognition pattern, as well as silver surfaces. Potentially not the version that I would be interested in. There are some research notes actually which say about how upper wing roundels were not carried. And then we flip over. I would probably be more tempted on this one. This is a little bit later in the paint scheme side of things. It's got a sky kind of color underneath We have roundels on the wings, but also you can see we've got our, I'm pretty sure they were like training bombs at this point, but it could be used for ground attack as one of its roles. This is probably the one that I would be more interested in doing because it just has a little bit more visual interest to it. And that is that. So yeah, put that down. And that brings us to the decals. So the decals, actually, for a 1/48 scale kit, that's not a very big sheet. We have our Polish ones down here with all of our roundels, and they're printed to a really nice quality. There's no registration issues that I can see. And then we have some letter codes for the other version. Here are our common stencils, and again, there's not that many of them, so actually, if you don't like decals, but you love building, this is probably not a bad kit, because there's not that many of them, and the ones that are here, mostly fairly moderately sized. Yeah, pretty nice looking decals, nothing there that I can see that may be a particular problem. So let's put that down, which means now, finally, we can get to the plastic parts. And something that I haven't seen from Airfix, or recall seeing from Airfix, is the fact that they come in multiple bags. I have had them in multiple bags on bigger scale kits, but never really in a 1/48 scale one. So we've got 3 bags of bits. Okay, just give me a minute whilst I get these all out. Right, well, let us start with the clear parts first. So we get 1 sprue of clear parts, and these are very nice. These are very lovely looking clear parts. We have our different canopy options, open or closed. The canopy framing is raised on the outside, relatively robust as well, so quite easy to mask. There are some little rivet details and things in places as appropriate. The plastic is slightly greasy, but I think you can see that it is like crystal clear. It's really nice quality. No flash that I can see, and nothing in the way of scuffs or blemishes. So these clear parts are molded to a really nice quality. Yeah, very nice. Good, so let's put them down. And now how many parts have we got? How many sprues have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 dark grey plastic sprues. Let's have a look at these then. So these are the current plastic colour and density that we have from Airfix. Fairly dense, not bad. Little bit greasy by the feel of it. This sprue then, sprue B, this has ejector pin marks on the internal surfaces of these wings. And if we flip over, oh, hello. These look quite nice, don't they? Yep, so on here, we've got nothing really in the way of flash. We have got some little rivet details down the bottom here. And we also, as the light catches it, you can see there's like that stressed metal across the ribs texture to it, which is really nice. Again, on the lower surface as well, we've got small details and yeah, nice little rivet details in places as well. Very nice. The molding sort of flow marks you can see here, they're not raised or anything, they just exist as a part of the sort of shape or shine of the plastic and shouldn't be seen in the final build. But yeah, those are very nice looking wing components. So let's put that down. Let us move on to sprue A. So sprue A has our fuselage components on it, and on here the level of detail is pretty much the same. We've got some stressed rib effect going across the plastic, which is quite good. We have little subtle rivet details in places and recessed panel lines, which are not overly thick. Our lower side strut with the sort of rivet or fasteners on the bottom as well, which have a nice texture to them. Another fuselage side, and then other parts. I think these are your wing slats, and then lower side parts, and then the tail surfaces. Yeah, nice. Coming across, same kind of deal. Ejector pin marks are all on the inside surfaces too. Yeah, pretty cool. We'll then have a look at this sprue. This sprue contains smaller details, including our propeller. Again, this is relatively nicely molded. We've got nice little rivet details on things. The machine guns are nicely reproduced. This is sprue D. Control panel elements. Oh, figure parts. So here are our figure parts. And again, these are molded to a nice quality. They are bespokely designed for this kit. A slight, ever so slight seam down the sides, but nothing too bad. Just a little bit of sanding would clean that up. And then we've got our arms and our heads as well. Those are very nicely molded. Bombs are here. And then other parts. These are our internal parts. We've got seats with our little bit of texture on. Yeah, very nice indeed. Onto the other side, again, it's the same kind of deal. Ejector pin marks are on this side, but not in visible places. No flash. I'd be surprised if there was any flash, given that it is effectively a brand new tooling. This is sprue C. This sprue has what appears to be a lot of the internal parts. So we've got like our framework, the floor, other bits, bulkheads, and then struts, and again molded to a very nice quality. Some extra ejector, so not ejector, but mold pips that need to be removed just to make sure that the plastic flowed into all of the molding. And again on this side, the ejector pin marks are here, but shouldn't be visible in the finished build. And then this brings us on to the last sprue, and the last sprue has our engine components on it. So this is sprue E, and we've got engine details, and they are molded here, and they look to be really nice as well. Relatively fine, some relatively small, thin parts reproduced in this kit. And then we move on to the wheel components as well. So yeah, this is a really nice looking kit, isn't it? This is definitely, like, the way it looks at the moment, this is the standard that Airfix is up to for 2024. Granted, we're in 2025 now, and they're always working like a little bit in advance, aren't they? I just want to swing back to this sprue, actually, because someone did mention to me a little bit ago about extra parts that were included in the kit. So I know I mentioned these were like lower surfaces for the belly, but actually I don't think they are. These parts here are what I believe to be these panels here. So if you take a look, we've got like a triangular bit, which is that bit there. We've got a slightly larger bit, which is that bit there. And you can even see it's got the little like foot rest thing for when climbing into the aircraft. And then this one would be that one there. So these panels, I don't think it mentioned it in the instructions, but these panels have technically been designed in so that they could be removed. There's no markings or indications on this side for it, so you'd have to be careful. But it does look as though these panels have spare panels here, which you could cut out and display the internal sort of framework, as if the aircraft is undergoing some kind of maintenance, which would be really interesting to do. But yeah, an interesting kit, a very nice kit, definitely up to the standards we expect from Airfix. Let's round this one up. We had 5 dark grey plastic sprues molded to a lovely quality, perhaps a little bit greasy, but the level of detail is really nice. We had 1 set of clear parts, which again I couldn't see any problems with, and really nicely reproduced. 1 medium-sized decal sheet, but printed to a very nice quality. We had colour painting instructions, which is always great to see, and our instructions seem to be relatively clear and easy to follow, with a few little notes and things in places to help make sure you do things correctly. All of that came contained within the beautifully illustrated box, which definitely makes you want to go and get one. So bearing in mind this is a brand new kit, well, for 2024, I'm just doing this unboxing in 2025. The retail price for this at the time of making the video was £39.99. And for what we've seen inside the box, I don't think that's a particularly bad price. I think that's relatively fair, given that we have all these different options. We had, bombs, we had leading edge slats or whatever it was that we could position open and closed. We had all that engine detail. We've got crew figures. We've got a choice of 2 different paint schemes. I think that's not a bad price for what we've seen inside the box today. As this is the first production run of the kit, I will be interested to see what Airfix decides to do with this in the future as well. All that I need to do now is find some time to put aside and actually get started on building this when I get the chance. But anyways, let me know down in the comments, what did you think of my review of this kit and whether my assessment of it was fair. As always, a quick shout out to my Model Club members for the extra support they give the channel. Massive thanks to these guys on screen, and if you'd like to join them, take a look at the links in the description to find out how. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, there is full information below the video too. The best way to support the channel for free though is by subscribing with notifications turned on so you never miss a modelling upload. Finally though, last thing to say is a massive thank you to you for watching this one, and I'll see you on the workbench again next time.